Hello amigos, welcome to this episode. When I started this channel a few months back, I told you I wanted to use Lightroom to do my photo edits, but also that I wanted to explore some other tools. Well, 25 episodes later, the time has come to do that. This time we're going to use Luminar 4, the latest version that has a brand new tool called AI Sky Replacement, where AI stands for Artificial Intelligence. And it gives us a different choice than Photoshop to replace sky on images. Sometimes when we're traveling, we get to a great location. It may be the only day that we can be there and the skies don't cooperate. And we get maybe really bland blue skies. So in Photoshop, we could change the sky. We can take a different image from our photo library and select the sky, build a mask, refine the edges, import a new sky, apply that mask to the sky, try to adjust the colors of the new sky to blend with the prior image, try to adjust luminosity, whites, and so on so that everything flows together, trying to apply some filters to the overall image, and at the end we're hoping to get a very nice result. Seriously, it's not difficult, it can be tedious, and especially if you have a lot of fine edges, trees, branches, where you need to get the sky behind those trees to look very natural. Well, Luminar makes that very easy with a new tool called AI Sky Replacement. So what we're going to do is to take this raw image taken in the Great Wall of China in November, and as you can see, it has a very bland sky. We're going to go into Lightroom first. We're going to do my initial edits in Lightroom. And then we're going to take it into Luminar to add a better sky to the image and end up with something like this. So here we are in Lightroom. Here is the raw image cropped to the way I wanted to edit it to make it easier to compare with the edits that I'm going to show you in a second. And here is the image with the edits. Let's discuss what we did. As you can see, I adjusted the color temperature a bit, made it a little bit warmer, adjusted exposure and contrast, adjusted highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks, applied a little bit of vibrance and a little bit of dehaze. In the HSL panel, I had adjusted the luminance of the reds, the orange, and the yellows. And in the detail panel, I had applied sharpening and a mask. That's basically what I had done for global adjustments to the image. In addition, using the adjustment brush, I had done two adjustments. This first one, where I selected and I painted most of the foliage, I had reduced the texture all the way and increased the clarity about 35 points. That combination of negative texture and positive clarity is a way to do an Orton effect in Lightroom, where we can have the softness to the image. And the other edit that I did with the brush, where I selected the section of the wall, was to increase texture and clarity and the sharpness only to the wall. Those are the edits that I did to the image. However, as you can see, the image looks pretty nice in the foreground, but the sky is very bland. There are no interesting clouds. If I had visited this portion of the Great Wall a different day, things perhaps would have been different. So now let's go to Luminar to do that. What we do is we right click on the image, we go to edit. In Luminar, we click, edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments, and we hit edit, and Lightroom is going to create a TIFF, open Luminar, and get us ready to start doing other edits there. Well, Lightroom took us to Luminar, and here we are. And if you're not familiar with Luminar, Luminar has these controls on the right, what they call Essentials, Creative, Portrait, and the Pro level tools. So we're going to go to the Creative, and the tool that we're going to use is this one called a Sky Replacement. When you first open the Sky Replacement, it brings you an initial set of options. The first one is to select the sky that we want to use. Luminar has about a dozen or so skies that it includes, but you're also able to add your own or go to anywhere in your hard disk and get a sky from there. So I had already loaded a number of skies. It's not an easy process to do. I'll do a separate video on how to do that. But for now, let's just say I created a number of images from prior photos I had where I had heavy clouds, nights, and so on. And I'm going to choose the sky here as heavy clouds 19 as the sky that I wanted to use. I had already played with a number of them, and I think this is the one that works better for this photo. But if I happen to select a different one, like a sky 13, here it is. So let's go back to sky 19. Now, what are all these controls? The first one, horizon blending, is just what it means. It adjusts how the horizon of the new sky and the initial photo are blended. And the artificial intelligence tools, actually, they do a pretty good job. I'm not going to touch the selection that it did of 20. The next one is to change the sky position. We can move the sky down, we can move the sky up, and I'm going to move mine down, trying to find something like this where the building on the top left is kind of with more blue sky and the one on the right is with heavy clouds, and I think that one goes really well with the light in the image. So we have a sky here, plays well with this bright area of the image, and then a little more cloudy here, and I think it plays well with the haziness of this part of the image. Another control is relight scene. The tool automatically put a level of 20. And again, it's one of the things that Luminar does very well, is to try to blend the image that we're bringing in with the sky with the original image. So we can take it to the right just to see what the tool does. It becomes a little darker. We move it to the left. Here is just superimposing the two images. So 20 is doing a good job. We can actually maybe increase it a bit, something like about there, 30 points. We can turn on and off. This is before what we have done, and now with the sky selected and the scene relit, that's about it. Sky Global is a control that allows you to blend the old sky with the new sky. So if you have something interesting in the old sky, you can use the Sky Global as a control to blend the two skies. In this case, I'm not going to touch it. Now we go to advanced settings. Close gaps allows us to refine the mask that the tool did automatically. So if I zoom in on the image, you can see that the artificial intelligence in the tool actually created a very good mask. You can see here between the branches on these trees that the mask was actually extremely good and did a great job in the selection. One of the things that you can do is, if you see some gaps that you want to close, just like the name implies, you can increase it and tell the tool that you want to refine the mask. In this case, I'm not going to do anything. I think the tool did a very good job. The Sky Global is the next control. So if your original sky had clouds and you want those clouds to somehow blend with the new sky, you can use this control. I'm not going to touch it. My original sky was very bland. There were no clouds in the sky. So the tool selected 25 points for that adjustment. It doesn't make a difference for me. A sky defocus is just like the name implies. We can soften the sky. If you use a shallow depth of field where maybe the buildings in the back for me were out of focus, I could try to match the softness of those buildings with the softness of the sky. I was using F9, so for me, actually, I had everything pretty much in focus. So I'm going to leave it the way it is, and it looks pretty good. Next control is flip sky. Basically, it flips the sky from right to left. So it switches the sky, and sometimes you can get a better composition that way. In my case, I like it the way it is. I'm not going to do it. Another control now is atmospheric haze. So I can add some haze to the image to my taste or not. And in my case, I'm gonna have it at 0. The next one is sky temperature. I think the tool did a very good job of blending the new sky with the colors of the foreground, but I want the image to be a little bit warmer overall. So I'm going to increase warm maybe about 20 points. And I think the sky warm up a bit looks better. So again, I can turn it off and on and see how it looks. And the next one is adjusting the exposure of the sky. This adjusts just the sky alone. I'm going to bring my sky a bit. It was a little bit too bright. Something like minus 15 points seems to work fine. This is looking very well. It did a great job of blending the sky with the image. We can do a before and an after. And here's another way to look before and after. Typically when we do composites, it's challenging to match the mood of the different photos that we're using for the composite. You know, the automatic sky replacement, artificial intelligence sky replacement in this case is doing a great job, but I want to do something on top of it. So I'm going to use this filter in the creative section called Mystical. Mystical is a filter that adjusts luminosity, contrast, and saturation. So if I take it to an extreme, here's what it's doing. Of course, that's too much. And I'm going to try to apply something like that, 20, 25 points. Here is without, here is with. And it gets applied to the whole image, and it helps me unify the new sky with the bottom of the image even more. But I don't want the filter applied as much to the wall. I want the wall to stand out a little bit more. Luminar allows you to have a mask for each one of these filters. I'm going to go to the brush, erase. So I'm going to select erase. I have a softness of 100, an opacity of 50. And with the left and right brackets, I can make my brush smaller or bigger. And I'm just going to erase it from this area. I'm going to leave the one in the foreground alone. I can turn on the mask and you can see I erase it from here. Perhaps I want to erase it from this area a little bit more. And I'm going to paint it in this area right there. So now here is without Mystical and with Mystical. Finally, I'm going to go to the Pro section and I want to adjust the warmth even more and perhaps the color. So I'm going to go to this filter called Color Enhancer. I can do brilliance and warmth, and in this case I'm going to adjust the warmth a bit, bring the warmth of the overall image. That's way too much. So something about 25 points. This is before and after. And another tool that I like is the color contrast. If I take it to an extreme, it almost goes nuclear on me. But it adjusts the color contrast in a few points, makes the oranges stand out a little bit more. Something like 7 or 8 points is working very well. So here is before color enhancer and after color enhancer. And here is the original image and the image with the very quick edits that we did in Luminar. I think Luminar did a great job of creating the mask for the sky, blending the new sky, adjusting the colors in the scene, and then we're able to apply a few additional filters to help unify the photo even more. So finally, we're going to go back to Lightroom. When we hit apply, it's going to create a TIFF with all those edits that we did, and it's going to bring that TIFF directly into Lightroom and into the collection that we have. And here we're in Lightroom. As you saw, it brought the image with all the edits, and I hope you like this workflow starting in Lightroom and going into Luminar. Well, amigos, what do you think? Luminar, I think, give us a great choice. It makes it a lot easier to be able to do very complex functions like replacing the sky and dealing with the edges and the colors and so on. Now, just because it's easier, I think it's time to think about the ethics of doing it. It's becoming easier and easier to do it, and it's also becoming more and more difficult to find out if somebody retouched a photo. Now, sometimes we want to take images because we're trying to document the environment. Perhaps we're a photojournalist. So the images that we take need to be very close with the with the scene that we end up observing with our own eyes. So we may just do some minor retouches or no retouches at all. On the other hand, we may say we are artists and we want to take images that we took in different locations and have the freedom to create something new by combining and blending those images. And sometimes we're somewhere in the middle. And I think what is really important is to be honest with ourselves and honest with the people that look at our images, or when we enter images into contests or exhibitions, to be able to say exactly what we did to the image, what were the source images, what happens to those images, and what the final result was. So, what is your position in all these things like a sky replacement and edits of images? I don't think there is a right and wrong, and there is a lot of gray space between nothing at all and complete everything is possible. What do you think? During the video, I showed you that there were many sky images that I had added to the Luminar library. And I told you that it wasn't easy to do that and it's straightforward. So in the next episode, I'm going to be showing you how to create and prepare those sky images and how to get them into Luminar. Well, take a few minutes to send me a comment or two. I'll also take a few seconds to subscribe and to give me a thumbs up if you're liking the content of this series. See you next time.